for the free show on a Monday.
We are extremely back.
We have never been more back.
Very back. Hello, everybody. Welcome into the pre-show for the free show. Live again from the Bachelorette pad.
Yes, back by unpopular demand. Us.
This will be different because we will not be joined by our chief living room correspondent, Mallory Hartley.
Unfortunately.
She is available. Mm-hmm. She said she's going to be watching upstairs.
Yeah.
But we could not come to contract terms.
No, and it was kind of for a cool reasoning, to be honest. The THSCA had their Rock mentorship program. Mm-hmm. It's actually currently going on right now. So yesterday and today, it's fixing to wrap up pretty soon. But we're
counter programming.
We are, unfortunately. But we sent one of our interns, Alfredo, out there, and he actually kind of followed around for a little bit, one of the mentees and the mentors. So we should have a video coming up pretty soon about what that program is kind of like.
But that's why it's just us today.
So we don't have any other cameras.
Normally there's another camera over in the do you call it the east wing? Mm-hmm. Is that the of the house?
Yeah. That's what most people refer to it as.
It is a long way away.
That's the only place that we really allow guests to be. You don't want to see the west wing.
Yeah, I would just I was taken aback by the marble floors. Really, it's been a long time since I've seen marble floors. And when did you guys have those portraits commissioned of you two?
Oh, that's usually a weekly thing.
It's really impressive.
Thank you.
You and I had very disparate weekends. My weekend took the boys to the zoo. Mm-hmm. I know you're a big zoo person.
This is a zoo-loving household.
Ava's
never been
to the zoo. You guys have a zoo, which is crazy.
That's, again, West Wing.
Yeah, we should have just gone to that one. But we went to the Fort Worth Zoo with Hank and Max. It was excellent. We got there early, which was good because it filled up.
Oh yeah, well it was a beautiful day.
It was and so we were
beautiful day.
Right, we got there 30 minutes before they opened.
Yeah,
we were the first ones in, and the Fort Worth Zoo rocks.
I've still never been.
Very good zoo.
I need to go.
Giraffes will walk right up to you.
That's awesome.
And they will sell you lettuce that you can feed them for an exorbitant amount of money.
Goof's a big giraffe guy. He likes giraffes a lot.
Giraffe guy. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Not lettuce guy. Or
know.
Leaf guy.
Maybe. I don't know. He can be both. Get his greens and stuff like that. What's funny is that Max, our 2-year-old, obviously he was into the animals, but more so he was into all these animals they have habitats, right? And almost all the habitats have water features.
Oh, solid.
And so he's just waterfall. I'm like, buddy, we could have turned on the sprinkler in the back seat in the backyard and spent, a lot less money than we did, and not drive over here. But it was a good time. We went to the zoo. It was a good time.
Salt.
And then you made your fiance get dressed up for no reason.
Well, there was a reason. Yeah, we took engagement photos this weekend. Which
so bad for Brian.
Yeah, getting any man ready for an hour and a half worth of photos he did really good. I was actually really impressed. I thought it was going to be more painful than it was, especially at the end, because that would have been around 12:30 to 1 o'clock ish, and we were pushing hangry hours at that point. Because we didn't eat beforehand. It was kind of just a get up and go situation. So we destroyed some barbecue afterwards. I mean, ate my weight in barbecue.
I cannot in good conscience recommend 90 minutes of photos.
It was fun.
I'm just gonna speak for married straight men here, to any married straight man or engaged straight man. It stinks.
Well, I tried to make it fun, and we did do some of them at a bar to where we could drink a beer and then we played some darts. So I tried to make them enjoyable. Mm-hmm. I had fun. I don't know.
I'm sure you did. I'm positive.
I think he had fun.
Because you know what? My wife had fun too when we did our photos. And for me, I was just like, oh my God. Can we wrap this thing up?
And then we made a stop by your house.
You did make a stop by my house.
Which I can give a little bit more feedback on how that all worked out. So I text your wife, my wife. earlier that morning and I said, hi, I have a question for you. You can't tell your husband that I'm asking this, but will y'all be home around 3 or 4 today? And she goes, yeah, we're going to the zoo. I guarantee you we're going to be tired out by like 1 or 2 and we'll be back. Okay, great. Then later on that afternoon, she texted me. She said, hey, we're home like whenever. Mm-hmm. And so up to that point, that's all that you didn't know anything.
So then what my side of the story is it got to be like 2:45 and I was about to go to the store, run to the store. We needed a few things for dinner. And I went to, and I said, hey, Hank, you want to go to the store? And my wife just out of nowhere goes, when are you going to be back? I was like, I don't know. However long it takes to get like strawberries and milk. What's going on? She's like, are you going to be back by 3:15? And I'm like,
oddly specific.
No. She's like, then you should wait. Somebody's coming over. That's all I can tell you. And I'm like, okay, all right, honey, that's fine. Do I need to change? Because at that point, I'm in like gym shorts and like
a bear shirt.
My Trampled by Turtle shirt. Shout out Minneapolis. Or I don't know if they were Minneapolis. They were a Minnesota band. But it's got a bear on it. I wore it on the show before. And
yeah, on Bear Shirt Tuesdays.
Bear Shirt Tuesdays. And she was like, no. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
So Jen said that the exact quote was, well, is the person coming over going to be upset if I'm in a bear shirt? And she said she looked at you and said, I cannot talk to you anymore.
Yeah,
because...
So then you guys rolled up, and I was like, ding dong. And like normally, here's the thing. Mm-hmm. The only time my wife panicked was when she saw that Brian was with you, your fiance. Because you have seen me in the worst states of my life.
Yes.
That is not going. But she was like, and the fact that you guys had just come
from we were
doing
dressed
your
up.
Engagement photos.
We were pretty dressed up.
So you're pretty dressed up, and I'm here in like shorts
and a bear shirt
t-shirt.
His bear shirt.
Hanging out. Max is running around in just a diaper and stuff. But you guys came over and we talked, and you gave me a bag. And I said, do I open this now? And you were like, yeah.
Yeah.
Long story short, you asked me to officiate your wedding.
Clearly, I was not in a good state of mind when I agreed to this. Yes, we did. Greg Tepper, officiant of the wedding.
I'm very honored. I told you that, and I mean that sincerely. I'm very honored and flattered that you would think of me to do that, and of course, I'm thrilled to do it. And now I get invited to the wedding. I thought that was I thought I was amazing.
Maybe now you have to be there.
Yeah, so
you cannot say no.
Now I gotta start doing my research.
And that was a big reason we were like, this guy's gonna do his research. Like he's gonna be prepared.
I'm a journalist.
I did put on the card. I said that if you bring up anything about the Mavs, that you're taking a bouquet to the Dome, and I mean that sincerely. I will hit you with my bouquet and not feel bad about it at all.
I could mention the Spurs though.
Oh, yeah. No, that's great. I need a Go Spurs Go.
Or the Spurs record.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It was a good weekend.
I'm excited. I really am thrilled and honored that you guys would think of me. And I will try to do right by the moment and come up with a couple of things that are going to make Lance laugh. So that's all I'm going for. All right. You want to get going, Ava? Okay. Hit the theme expo. Pickle! Hit the air sign. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Bachelorette Pad in an undisclosed location, it is Texas Football Today, a show that's got all these wires here and also a cat. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good, She's the Duchess of the Dorks, Miss 305. She's Ashley Pickle.
Howdy. Happy Monday. I don't know. It's really hard to keep track of what day it is when you're at home. We haven't done a show.
That's the other thing. We haven't done a show. This week's going to be, we got 5 shows this week.
Yeah.
Bing, bing. And so it'll be easier, certainly. And it'll give me an excuse to get out of the house, too.
Yeah.
Like on Thursday last week, I told my wife, because she's home with Max, I told her, I was like, this is not a personal thing. I need you to know this. I'm going to go to a coffee shop and work for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Just to
background noise when you're trying to focus on stuff gets hard.
I just need to disconnect.
Yeah.
So, anyway, today is Monday, March 4th, 2024. 269 days till Thanksgiving.
Nice.
It is happy birthday to Draymond Green, Michigan State's own. Let's see how long
I'm waiting for the
how long the delay is. We're gonna find out if she's really watching.
She was earlier. She said, "I'm watching from upstairs. Don't worry, Mallory."
Let's see if she's gonna more than 3.
Off the Dave Campbell account.
1. Oh, we're waiting for Mallory Hartley. This is how long
Yeah, that must be a bad delay. She might.
Exactly right. Maybe
she might have turned it off,
which would actually track. It's episode 1,700.
Call her bluff. 38.
On today's show, folks, we got headlines from across the state, including a pretty major Texas high school.
She just commented
headline.
Draymond in all caps.
All right, I thought we were going to get an audio.
I did too.
But we'll talk about a pretty major Texas high school football storyline that came out yesterday from the UIL, last week from the UIL, as well as some changes coming to college football. And maybe they suck, but we'll talk about that. And then back half the show, we caught up with the head coach of the Frisco Emerson Mavericks and the president of the Texas High School Coaches Association, Coach Kendall Miller, there at the THSCA Leadership Summit last week. So we will hear from Kendall Miller coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first 4 through the door?
We sure do. It was Ed McElroy, ace, jersey number 69, and Daniel Agnew. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome in, friends. We do appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us. All right, let's get to some headlines from across the state of Texas here on this March 4th, 2024. We're going to start with news from the UIL State Executive Committee last week. They had a State Executive Committee meeting last week.
That sounds like a blast.
And they always, so these are relatively regular meetings.
Yeah, I think they're quarterly, maybe
I think
not.
they're even more. I think they'll come up. I mean, I get emails for all of them, so it's more than
quarterly.
It's whenever they need decisions made, and so the and these are meetings that we don't usually bring up,
right?
Because they're usually not all that interesting, or they're too far in the weeds. It'll be about like one player's eligibility.
Yeah, where it's a singular thing and not a statewide agenda item.
And like, I hate to say it, but like if a play, like unless it's like a 4 or 5 star player who's going to really impact the landscape of Texas high school football, just not going to make waves from a statewide perspective.
Well, and for us, we might be interested in it, but we don't need to relay that to the public because it's not interesting to the public.
Exactly right. You can find them. They're all public on the UIL website. But they had a state executive committee meeting last week, and there was one particular topic, one particular agenda item that really caught our eye, and it was about potential violations by Galena Park North Shore, and specifically their former offensive coordinator, Andrew Cameron. And the allegations were related to recruiting, illegal recruitment of players. There was a meeting. You can watch the meeting. We've got it linked on TexasFootball.com. And Andrew Cameron, who's no longer the offense coordinator, I believe no longer with Galena Park ISD, goes out there and admits it and says, yeah, I recruited players or attempting to recruit players to Galena Park North Shore to play there. He said he owned up to it. He said that he was acting alone. He was not acting on behalf of anybody. He focused. He admitted to in the hearing to recruiting players from area schools. The UIL then more or less dropped the hammer on Andrew Cameron and suspended him for 3 years from participating in UIL activities. They also hit head coach Willie Gaston with a suspension for the first 2 district games.
Which I think one of those is Atascocita, isn't it?
I would need to look. It might be.
Because that's a pretty big game.
But those for those infractions, essentially, the UIL ruled that the program was not at fault, but because ultimately Willie Gaston is in charge and it happened under his watch, that he can't be blameless in this.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. If they would have tried to suspend him for all of district play, then that's a much dicier thing. But the first 2 games, at least, and it's district games, which actually matter. Not that non-district doesn't, but...
So there's a couple of parallels that I need to draw here that I think are interesting. 'Cause the 2 most recent examples that spring to mind of a similar kind of situation would be Richland Springs and San Marcos. Now, with Richland Springs, they suspended Jerry Burkhart, the head coach at Richland Springs, for 3 years,
right?
From participating because they ruled that he was
the one that was in contact.
He was the one who was overseeing any sort of illegal recruitment of players to Richland Springs.
Which I think with that one, they had text messages or phone calls from him.
They had some. I believe
they had hard
receipts.
evidence at some point that he was the one that was the one contacting him.
The other one is San Marcos, and San Marcos was hit with a program penalty of that I believe some individuals were suspended, but also they caught a postseason ban.
Yes.
And where they said, no, you cannot participate. You're ineligible for the postseason. The reason for that, we're told by the UIL, is because that was considered more of a systemic program-wide issue. If you want to consider you go to NCAA terms and stuff like that, you would talk about like a show cause and stuff like that.
Because that one had not just one, like with the Richland Springs one, it was one individual player that was contacted by the coach, which is kind of mirroring what this North Shore one is. But with that one, it was literally like 20 some odd kids moving in from one very specific area coming in.
Yes,
and so it was like, that's a program one.
There are differences here. I think Matt Stepp and I are going to talk about this on our next episode of Tep and Step coming this month, because I want to kind of dive into this, because a lot of the like thought process was like, a lot of the reaction to this was like, well, of course they're recruiting and stuff like that. And of course, like all these other big name programs that are always successful, that always have blue chip prospects, of course they're recruiting. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm not naive to think that there is nothing going on.
Right.
But I also tend to believe in the idea of if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, and I think that that's a huge thing, because I think that now maybe if you want to say, oh, well, that means that they were recruiting early on. Okay, look, I'm not the one to call anybody out on that. I don't know. I don't want to know, honestly. I hope that people don't do that. But if you want to say, oh, yeah, but you're right, after 4 or 5 years of continued success, those kids end up going, I want to go play there.
Correct.
And so, yes, but maybe it's hairy in the beginning. I don't know. That's not for me to decide.
From the Andrew Cameron perspective there at Galena Park North Shore, again, I believe there were text messages or DMs,
Twitter
that were
DMs,
leaked, basically, that another coach, that basically,
I think the
he
kid
had reached out
posted
via
it.
DM, and then
that
kid
sent it to his coach,
who then published it and stuff like that. So there were receipts there. There's got to be paperwork, and I understand that people are going to believe what they want to believe. Again, I want to talk about this on Tep and Step with Matt Stepp, because I really want to get his perspective on this. But it is obviously noteworthy, and it is a big name program getting hit with this. If this was a lot of other programs that hadn't won 3 titles since 2018, this would be a different conversation. But as a result, it is big news that Galena Park North Shore hit with recruiting violations there. We will continue to follow the story if there are any other developments with regards to that. So keep an eye on that one. A couple of other things from across the state of Texas. There were some high school football coaching changes. Henrietta has hired Frisco offensive coordinator Jay Jones to be their next head coach. He's replacing Michael Johnson, who left to become the offensive coordinator at Granbury. Frisco offensive coordinator Jay Jones, the next head coach at Henrietta. As well as Holland has hired Skidmore Tynan head coach Heath Homan to be their next head coach, taking over for Brad Talbert, who retired. Big shoes to fill because he had been there for a long time. Hi, Ava. It's good to see you.
Okay. Get down.
Dayton has a new head coach, and it's a familiar name, Jerry Prieto. Jerry Prieto, you may remember.
Oh, he's going again. I missed that one.
So he led Crosby to the state championship game in 2020. This past year he was the head coach at Lake Worth.
Yes.
Went 6-5 in that time. He is now heading back down to the Southeast Texas area. Going to be the next head coach at Dayton.
And that's interesting because we thought that he was moving up here for family. I thought maybe not.
Mm-hmm. A big move here. East Bernard. We talked about East Bernard coming up, and Wade Bossy kind of moved into an administrative role within East Bernard ISD. East Bernard comes open. They have hired Jeremy Jenkins. Jeremy Jenkins, the Harmony head coach, who did terrific things there at Harmony, kind of getting
team
them,
of the year 2 years ago.
Yeah, getting them off the mat. There before he was at Tenhoff 2020 and 2021. This is a guy who has been very, very successful, including that surprise state semifinal appearance back in 2022, like the little team that could. Basically, there in 2022. But Jeremy Jenkins is now going to be the next head coach there at East Bernard. Some college football news. Our own Corey Hogue reports that Mary Hardin Baylor is going to split their defensive coordinator roles. They had head coach Larry Harmon is going to split it between Mark Carey, who's going to be promoted to co-defensive coordinator and will coach linebackers, and Jordan Collins, a new addition to the staff, is going to be the co-defensive coordinator and coach the defensive line. Collins, most notably, has been the previous 5 seasons where he's defensive line coach at East Texas Baptist. So Mary Hardin Baylor making some news on their front. Did you watch any of the NFL Combine?
I did not. No. I had a busy weekend.
Did you hear about Xavier Worthy?
Yes, I did. I did see this. Broke the record.
The big headline is probably that Xavier Worthy ran the fastest 40-yard dash in Combine history.
4.21.
4.2140 in the 40. Broke the record. He is going to be drafted. I will say that. There's a hot take.
Could you run that fast?
How far?
10 yards.
What a great question. Yes, I could run 10 yards. I wonder, could I run 30 yards in 4.21? You know what I mean?
See, here's the thing. I know for a fact that I couldn't because I am much more of a distance runner than I am. There's Ava. I'm much more of a distance runner than I am. I'm not explosive.
So extrapolate it out. Mm-hmm. If you were to run a 4.21 in the 30,
1.4, 1.3,
that'd be a 5.640.
5.6. Okay, yeah.
I think I can do that.
I think I can do that.
I think I can do that.
I used to.
That's
definitely back in the day.
Praise, yeah. But I think I can do that. I think I can run a 30-yard dash as fast as Xavier Worthy ran a 40-yard dash.
Okay. Mallory, if you're sitting upstairs, can you cut that real fast so we can make that happen?
I think so. I think I can do that. 5.6. I think I can run a 5.640.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I can run a 5.640. I'm old.
You run, too.
I run. I'm trying to be in shape.
Yeah.
Okay, one more thing before we go, and that's something to do with the NCAA. So the NCAA, the Rules Committee met on Friday, and they formally proposed a variety of new policies. The 3 biggest ones that are going to get a lot of headlines, 2 of them I think are good. The first is that they're going to give players headsets. Much like the NFL, if you don't know, if you watch the NFL, one player has a green dot on his helmet. Mm-hmm. That's because he has a radio that he can get the plays from the sideline. He can have communication with the sideline via a radio. Instead of holding up the big signs with your face on it, mm-hmm. right, with the WTF logo on it, instead they'll be able to just get the radio in the call.
I wonder if we'll see the signs vanish completely, or they'll probably have them still as backups in case someone doesn't get the full call.
Yeah, I wonder. It'll be interesting to see where they go with
that. Well, also, too, I mean, shoot, from my perspective of being a technology person, as great as it is, I also wouldn't trust it. I would continue to use the cards because if by chance you're having headset issues, what are you supposed to do? And then they're not going to be used to the cards. I would keep them.
So that is coming. Coach-to-player communications is coming, a la the NFL. I don't think there's any problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. Secondly, they're going to allow tablets on the sideline. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah. That feels very natural and something they should do. The third one is what I want to talk about. Did you see this? Did you hear about this?
You hear about this, Kev?
They want to add a 2-minute warning.
College football is long enough.
They
Why are
want
we
to
extending
add an
time?
additional timeout at the 2-minute mark of the second and fourth quarters.
Every single marketing person across NCAA campuses just went, ugh.
Let me tell you guys something. And they're trying to say that this is going to help sync up all the time rules and stuff like that. Let's be real about why this is happening.
That's just more TV money.
It's another commercial break.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, and I don't want to be an alarmist here or defeatist, but I don't know if I've seen anything this offseason that I think has made college football a better game for fans.
No.
I think the game is getting worse for fans, and this is another example of that. The 2-minute warning is needless. Mm-hmm. It's needless in the NFL. Mm-hmm. It's needless in college football.
Yeah, you already have and here's the other thing, just knowing this because I've done so many like emceeing gigs and stuff, when you have like those TV timeouts too are not always like, okay, if you're going to be on ESPN Plus, your TV timeouts usually for college is about 2 minutes or so. When you start getting into, if you are on big ESPN, if you are on Fox, if you're on this, it is shocking how long those timeouts are. I mean, some of them can get up to like 3 minutes and 30 seconds just for a normal called timeout. Half the time the team's standing there twiddling their thumbs.
So it's, I think it sucks.
Yeah, that's pointless.
I don't think that's a positive move for college football. One thing that I will be very interested in is UIL does not use an NFHS rulebook. They use a NCAA rulebook. Mm-hmm. So if it's NCAA, they use it in high school football. I am interested to see if the UIL takes over something like that.
Which, I'm sorry, doesn't need to happen too. The half times are already 30 minutes, and we love our band people. That's why we have half times that are 30 minutes. I'd rather give that time
to the band.
Yes. We do not need to extend. Yeah, God, I hope that does not happen.
Anyway, I think it's bad, and it stinks, and I don't think we need the 2-minute warning. I don't think there's not a safety issue there. There's no, I don't know. I think it's bad. So there are some headlines from across the state. We are Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Coming up here in just a moment, my conversation with THSCA President Frisco Emerson head coach Kendall Miller. But first, a word from these goods and services.
I feel like bustin' loose, bustin' loose, come on! Get on up, oh yeah! Get on up! Bustin' loose when you wanna sing, bustin' loose, baby, do your thing. Talking about bustin' loose, yeah!
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support, virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Wing is the largest residential drone delivery provider in the world, delivering to your home in less than 30 minutes. Order using an app just like other popular delivery services, and Wing's automated drone takes care of the rest. It's fast, safe, and sustainable, and it's now delivering to parts of Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. You can learn more at wing.com/TexasFootball. Again, that's wing.com/TexasFootball.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
Last week, we were lucky enough to mosey on over to Arlington to the THSCA Leadership Summit. A lot going on there, and it gave us an opportunity to catch up with a number of people. One of them, the president of the Texas High School Coaches Association and the head coach of the Frisco Emerson Mavericks, Coach Kendall Miller. Had a great conversation with him. Here's our conversation with Kendall Miller here on Texas Football Today. Greg Tepper, Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com here in Arlington at the THSCA Leadership Summit. Here with the president of the THSCA, the head coach of the Frisco Emerson Mavericks, Coach Kendall Miller. Coach, it's good to see you. Thanks for inviting us to your party.
Great, good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Events like this here, the THSCA Leadership Summit. You're a guy who's a higher up at the THSCA, elected president. What is it about this particular event that has you excited about what's going on here?
You know what I think the most is that it goes beyond X's and O's and the on-field things about coaching that so many people put a lot of emphasis on, but we also know that it goes beyond that. And so if we think those things are important, as all coaches do and administrators do, then this event allows us to focus on solely that, just developing the character of kids, building programs, and the off-the-field issues. So to put something solely on the leadership aspect of coaching, we think is a special event because at the end of the day, this is going to be the greatest benefit of athletics, of what they develop from a character sense in playing sports.
I think it's pretty telling that here you are, the president of the THSCA. You've been a coach for a while, and yet you're here functioning as a student, right? You're here just sitting in the crowd and absorbing whatever you can.
Well, without question, coaching is stealing. I mean, we steal ideas and teachings from all other coaches. So anytime you can come and hear from other coaches throughout the state that have been successful, and not even just coaches. I mean, we have different people that will speak here. But anytime that we can hear ideas and things that coaches have used to help their success, then we want to steal and borrow some of those things. So typically if you ask the coach where they got that idea from, they're going to say from someplace else. So it's all cyclical. And you see that, so no doubt. I mean, I'll miss a lot of things. I won't miss this one.
The other thing that I find really fascinating about this event is it's not, I think, some people think of the THSCA, it's football coaches, right? And you're a football coach yourself, but you look out there, basketball coaches, volleyball coaches, wrestling coaches, all sorts of different coaches that are all coming together and getting those kind of universal ideas that go into coaching in any sport.
Well, leadership and character is not limited to one sport. And so... And that label probably was appropriate at one point in time to the THSCA of being just for football coaches, but the association has worked very hard to separate from that label and truly be what it represents, meaning the Texas High School Coaches Association, all coaches, all genders, all sports. And so that's been intentional over recent years to do that. So to look out and see so many coaches that coach different things, that's not a surprise. It's actually reassuring because of the effort that's been put in to make sure that all coaches are represented. At the end of the day, we want all the kids to receive benefits from this. We want to help coaches help kids, and that's all coaches helping all kids that participate in athletics, no matter what it is.
And I have to take the opportunity to ask you about the Frisco Emerson Mavericks. You guys run to the state semifinals this past year. Now that some time has passed, how would you assess what you guys were able to do in 2023?
Coaching is funny. I mean, if at the beginning of the season or when we first opened the school and someone was going to say, would you be okay with your first senior class going to the state semifinals and having a shot, you say, hell yeah, you would be, right? And so, it was kind of beyond our wildest dreams. I mean, that's not something that typically happens, and it's just a testament to, our kids and our players and our coaches of what they did to prepare our kids, and also how quickly our kids bought into us, because that's not an easy thing to do. And so, but you get close enough to smell it, and you want to go one more, And so that night, I mean, there is a stink on it because, man, you think, and we lost to a really, really good team. I mean, a team that's obviously been there, won it 2 times before that. So we knew we had to play a really great game, and they're a really good team and really well coached. And but we felt like we had an opportunity in there somewhere. So, man, you leave that thing like, man, I wish we could have gone one more. But when you really step back and view it, you have to be proud and feel like we did accomplish something in making a run. And we hope that, for our kids and coaches, it's an experience they won't forget going through.
Coach, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
There he is, Kendall Miller, the president of the Texas High School Coaches Association and the head coach of the Frisco Emerson Mavericks. We appreciate him having us out there at his party there at the THSCA Leadership Summit. A good time out there. We've got a number of interviews up on our YouTube channel if you want to go check that out. I think they're up on TexasFootball.com.
They are.
A couple of them, so go check that out.
Yeah.
Let's go over to a villainous Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment, Final Thoughts.
Why am I the villain?
Well, you literally have a cat on your lap, like.
Yeah, you can't see her
Petting.
right now.
Yeah.
She does this in the car too, man. She'll just sit there and ride for hours. Good Ava girl. Yeah, so first week with like a full deck of shows.
Yeah.
We'll have WTF this week. Mallory won't be here, but we're going to pre-record.
Nice.
And then ROF is back too. So keep locked in there. We're guns a-blazing. But I also, before we get into all of that, wanted to remind everybody that the girls' state basketball tournament just wrapped up. Shout out to our very own Ishmael Johnson. He had some excellent buzzer beater calls.
He did. He got 2.
2 of them.
Like
yeah.
in the same day?
Yeah, in the same day.
Yeah, because he just called championship games.
Yep. Yeah,
Oh my
all
gosh.
the semifinal games are Thursday, Friday. Shout out to our guys at Texan Live for calling most all of those games. Gavin Moritz, Chase Snyder, and Trevor Bullard. But the whole crew will be down. And for boys, Ish is going to be on some games, which rocks. Ish is doing the primetime 4A and 6A games with the one and only Craig Way. So if you want to hear Craig Way and Ishmael Johnson on NFHS.com for the boys 4A and 6A championships, you can also hear Matt Stepp do color commentary for boys state. Yep.
Legend, Matt
so I know for a fact that Stepp's calling 2 games with Gavin, which is an incredible duo. Ish and Craig will be on the call. Trevor Bullard will be there. Tommy Yarish will be there. So star-studded cast for the boys semifinals and state championships all weekend long. So I hope that you'll tune in. That's NFHSnetwork.com to catch all that.
Wow,
so basketball season. Yeah. Guess who was in charge of scheduling?
Yeah,
Me.
I was going to say.
We only get 5 stars.
Yes. Only 5-star broadcasts there. Okay, fantastic. That is going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF.
Did it turn into Greg Campbell's Texas football?
DCTF. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/DaveCampbell. Now I'm
you
all
broke.
Now I'm off. All the social stuff. You know where to find us. For Ashley Pickle, thanks again to Kendall Miller, the head coach of Frisco Emerson, the president of the Texas High School Coaches Association, for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please meet your Player of the Year trophy. Me, Pickle, and Ava will see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.